Hey, it's Don Coscarelli, filmmaker. I just wrote a book. Check it out. It's called Fiction Tales from the World of Phantasm. And it can teach you all the things that you never knew about the Phantasm film series. A lot of interesting stuff. Horror, violence, not much sex. Check it out. Now available on Amazon, paperback, and Kindle.
This is The Gala Show. I'm your reporter on the beat, Gala Avery. On this episode, you may know my guest as an 80s pop culture and style enthusiast who has been featured in publications such as Canvas Rebel, Bust Magazine, Jezebel, and Australia Channel 7. From her I Heart Rudy Monster Squad zines, or as the Frogger Girl. But here on The Gala Show, I know her as one of my favorite people to run into at the movies, Grace Chan. Hey, Grace.
Hey, Gala.
It's so funny. I always forget, is it zines or zines?
It's zines, like magazine.
I always say zines. I read it, but I've gotten so much like crap about that from my friends. So I'm like, I've got to say it right. And of course I'm like, zines. Oops, zines. Well, it's a zine in my eyes.
Yeah.
But before we bring up the topic for today, I have a question for you. So we already talked about this a little bit actually before recording, but I'm vegetarian, and to be honest, I was really thrilled when I found out that both you and Ciro, you guys are vegan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I found out that you guys were vegan, I was like, yeah. This is awesome because birds of a feather flock together. You just kind of have a kinship with someone when they share that with you. So I wanted to ask you, what prompted you to make this change in your life, and why do you find it important?
Oh, wow. Well, I've been a vegetarian since I was 15.
Really?
Yeah, I think my father actually blames Morrissey and the Smiths for me being vegetarian. In high school, I was known as the quote-unquote little Asian goth girl, all about the Smiths and Morrissey and The Cure and Depeche Mode. And one of Morrissey's like tenets of life is, he doesn't quote-unquote eat his friends. He doesn't eat animals. He is a vegetarian. So I think that did kind of like swayed me into not eating meat. So I've been a vegetarian since I was 15.
That's really brave to start so young, especially when you're in a household that maybe doesn't support it. And also, it's a lot easier now than it was back then.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I remember traveling to like the next 2 towns over just to get like a Boca burger from like a mom and pop hippie store.
That's crazy.
And just, searching for any plain salad at Denny's or whatever.
Yeah.
But nowadays, people have so many options.
So when you were 15, you became vegetarian, and then what prompted you to become vegan?
Oh my gosh. So during the pandemic, I think Ciro just cooked a lot of food. He's a vegan. And so I kind of just got suckered into eating vegan with him. And I've always been a sucker for cheese. I think that was the final frontier.
That's also my final frontier, too.
It was freaking hard to give it up. But also being Asian, a lot of Asian people are lactose intolerant. So, at the time I was like, screw it, I don't care. I love cheese. But it was easier to give up than I thought.
Probably because it also made you probably feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my thing. I don't eat eggs because I have an egg allergy.
Yeah.
So that's already. But I'm like a lacto vegetarian, not lacto ovo. They used to make that distinction, like lacto ovo or like just vegetarian. But you got so many words now. But it was really nice to find out that you and Ciro were vegan. So it made me feel good.
I know.
Now, as always, my guest gets to bring their topic to the mic. Grace, why don't you tell us what your topic is and why you decided to choose it?
My topic of the day is 80s films and 80s pop culture. Because I live and breathe the 80s.
You are the 80s girl. You are the authority.
That's right. I mean, this was the decade that raised me, and I have just so many fond memories of growing up in the 80s. And I kind of just never grew up. I just remained the girl from the 80s, and it was just such a inspirational time. And I think nowadays people are so nostalgic for it because it's freaking hard to be a human being in 2024.
Yeah, it is. It is really hard.
It's really freaking scary, and it's hard. I mean, we've got like the rise of AI, which I'm not happy about. We've got, crazy political divide. We, just got out of COVID, inflation. I mean, there's so much that's so scary about the world right now. And I think people just kind of long for the simplicity of a bygone era. where music was awesome, the fashion was bold, the design was big and beautiful, and I miss it. I miss it every day of my life, honestly. But before we get into the topic, here's a commercial break.
I might be vegetarian, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy a good spice rub. My favorite place to get them is Smoked Bros, a veteran-owned and operated business that sells premium handcrafted dry rubs, spice blends, and seasonings. Psst, guys, you can even put it on your popcorn. My favorites are Honey Badger, because he doesn't give a bleep, and jelly and peanut flavor topping, because some things just taste better together. The website even has recipes, so go check out smokedbros.com to support a veteran-owned and operated business and fill your cabinet with delicious flavor.
And we are back.
So you heard it here. We are going to be talking about all things 80s. I have 30 minutes on the clock and our time starts now. So Grace, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Where did you grow up?
I am born and raised in LA.
Okay, you're an Angelina.
I'm a true Angelina.
Where in LA were you born? I have to ask the hospital question.
Oh God, you know what? I actually have my birth certificate here somewhere, but
We'll
it's
find
like
out after.
some no name. I don't know, downtown LA somewhere.
So you are like a true Angelina.
Yeah.
So you're born and raised here and grew up in the 80s.
Grew up in the 80s. I lived in Chinatown with my parents up until I was 8. Then my little sister came around. We moved to the burbs, to West Covina, to be precise. And yeah, I've been in LA ever since. So I'm a tried and true Angelina. This is home to me.
That's amazing. So Grace has brought a smattering of objects for us to look at today. So Grace, what's your first object you want to bring up?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my favorite 80s films of all time. So in my bountiful stash of items.
Oh, I see some good stuff in here.
So I've got some Pretty in Pink press photos here.
Is Pretty in Pink like your choice of like the John Hughes movie? Like, is that like your favorite one?
It's my ultimate.
Your ultimate.
Ultimate. What
And
I mean,
and the psychedelic furs song that goes with it.
Yes. I mean, the soundtrack. Absolutely, it's one of the top soundtracks of all time, according to Rolling Stone, and according to me,
according to us,
and according to me. Yeah. So actually, the only reason why I went to my high school prom is because of this movie.
Really?
Yes, because Iona in the movie told Andy, who was played by Molly Ringwald, that she'd be missing out on life, essentially, if she didn't go to her high school prom.
Wow, so it really had a good impact on you.
It has had such an impact on me.
How do you feel, though, that like about the Ducky? Like that Ducky doesn't get the girl in the end.
Oh, boy. You want to go there?
Yeah, I want to go there because I'm upset. That's why, to be honest, that's why Uncle Buck is my favorite.
Oh, my God.
Because for me, it's like, Ducky doesn't get the girl. I'm really mad.
Yeah.
And I think there's like an alternate version somewhere that Ducky does get her.
Yes. That scene was actually shot. So, okay, let's get into it. So the original ending, Andy was supposed to end up with Ducky. They're supposed to dance to David Bowie's We Could Be Heroes on the dance floor. And the test audience hated it.
Really?
They booed. They wanted what Andy wanted. They wanted her to get her dream man. They wanted her to get the fairy tale ending. So I'm going to admit something to you that I've never admitted out loud. It's a very unpopular opinion here. I'm glad she chose Blaine.
Oh, that's good.
Because that was what she wanted.
Yeah.
And I always thought of Ducky as like her gay BFF.
Yeah.
And even Molly Ringwald herself said that, I think, in an article in Out Magazine. I'm going to get real specific. Out Magazine 2012. She said she thought that Ducky was gay and didn't know it. Wow. And that Ducky loved her as a gay BFF would love her.
Yes.
So I just saw him as her kid brother kind of vibe.
Yeah.
They didn't have chemistry. They were like best friends.
Yeah, and also like even if that probably could be true for sure, but even if it wasn't true, there are best friends that don't get together.
Yeah.
I have had male best friends where it's like we might look like we perfectly get together. Maybe one person likes someone at one point and maybe they someone else. But in the end, you are just friends. So, you know, maybe I'll soften a little bit to the fact that Ducky didn't get the girl, but I still think that guys like Ducky should get the girl. If it works out.
If it works out, true. That is true. I think, that's such an unpopular opinion. And you know what? I think she made the right choice in the end.
I think you're brave for admitting that.
I've never admitted it. And, you know, it's a tale as old as time. I mean, look at Romeo and Juliet. Look at West Side Story. Look at Valley Girl. It's the drama, and it's...
Yeah. And the 80s kind of had that where it's like there were a lot of strong female leads.
Yes.
And they weren't just strong, they were complex female leads. And they went for the guy and they got their dreams usually.
They got it.
And it was great.
Yeah.
So I think is that another Pretty in Pink thing
Oh
underneath?
gosh, yeah, this is like the Japanese some kind of movie promo.
Yeah, it's
for
like
it,
wow, look at got the Japanese promotional material.
Yes.
Really is the best. It's
It
like when you
really
flip through
is.
it, I have a Phantom of the Paradise Japanese. And it's fantastic.
Oh my god, like a movie program?
No, I'm sorry, vinyl. I
Oh,
have
God.
I like to collect Japanese vinyl specifically when I can because they do it the best.
Yes.
They include like all the notes actually, and I have a Bugsy Malone one too.
Whoa.
But it's in English, a lot of it. And they tell the story of like how Alan Parker and Paul Williams like came together to make the movie. They met in a diner and then like planned Bugsy Malone in a diner.
Oh my god.
Because it's all about Bugsy Malone, he's Irish and he's also Italian. So he's between both the gangs.
Oh god.
So that's the whole thing. So I always thought it was funny. This is beautiful.
It is.
So
I've got such a crazy
what is, because
collection.
you collect lots of different things.
Yes.
So like, what is your favorite thing to collect?
Oh god. I mean, I don't even know where to begin.
It's kind of a holistic thing for you though, because it's like if you like a piece of media, like if you like Pretty in Pink or if you like Monster Squad, which we're going to get into later, if you like those things, you want to collect all things about it.
Of course.
Like you're not just like, I only collect VHS
Yeah.
of things I like. I collect programs, I collect pictures, I collect posters, I collect tapes, I collect novelizations, I collect et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just the list goes on and on.
Oh God, it really does go on, and it. You know, I am a big movie nerd, but you know, a lot of 80s vintage clothing. I'm actually wearing this entire outfit is from my mom's closet.
It is so cute because also one of the things that when you were saying like people crave nostalgia, people also crave color.
Yes.
And we are in this time of beige and taupe, and it is really
So
depressing
gross.
because how can you, I mean, some people can rock it, but I love it when like life was full of color, expression, and when you're also just like testing things out, like maybe you try a style. Maybe it doesn't work, but you try it anyway. Like maybe you want to go like new wave. Maybe you want to go 80s punk. Maybe you want to go goth. Maybe you want to do this, that. There's so many things for you to choose from. And we've kind of lost subculture a little bit now.
We really have, because everything is just so homogenized and the same.
Yeah.
There is no subculture because that's been integrated into the mainstream.
It's really sad. So I'm like, that's why I just, whenever I see your post on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, I love it. Like you're visiting, like you just got back from New York.
Yes.
And who were you with in New York?
Oh my gosh, I was with my friend Glitterwave 80's, aka Violet Sky. She's always visited here in LA, visited me here in LA, but this was my first time visiting her in New York, so we did it up.
That's
you know,
amazing.
we did
Oh
all
my
the 80s
God.
things.
I know. I saw that one diner with the mirrors, and I was like, "Oh my God, I love it! I want to go there." Yes. So it's so fun. What's your next item that you have?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so still with the 80s movie theme, I want to talk about another favorite movie of mine, which is, I don't know if you've seen this movie. Have
you know
seen
what?
Fade
I
to
haven't
Black?
seen Fade to Black, but I am aware of Fade to Black
Oh my
because
gosh.
I used to run a film club and we would do like a kind of like a viewer's choice of like the regular people, and they'd pick 3 movies and then we'd all vote on what to see. And Fade to Black always was like up for watching, but we never watched it.
Oh my gosh, you've got to watch it. You're going to absolutely love it. So I wish I could say Fade to Black, this is from 1980, this movie. I wish I could be like, yeah, I saw this on VHS back in the 80s. That's sadly not true. I was recently introduced to this movie during the pandemic. And it's such an underrated movie. I don't think a lot of people even know about this movie.
So what is it about?
Oh my gosh. So it's about Dennis Christopher, whom I just absolutely fell in love with him in this movie, and his character, Eric Binford. He's a lonely, misunderstood film nerd who just kind of gets pushed to the edge by his abusive boss, his abusive coworkers.
Oh my God, like look at this one's like a Hopalong Cassidy,
Yes.
and then look how beautiful she is
She's
as like
this-
Marilyn.
Yes.
She's not Marilyn Monroe, she's Marilyn O'Connor, but still we can tell that she's Marilyn.
Yes.
So it's like an ode to movies, basically.
Yeah, so he gets pushed to the edge by everybody, and he finally just loses his mind, and he exacts revenge on all who have wronged him, doing so by dressing as his favorite movie characters. So it is such
Like Dracula,
Yes,
the Mummy.
the Mummy, Hopalong Cassidy.
Yeah.
It's such a love letter to cinema, and as a film nerd myself, I feel such a special kinship to his character.
And I love that because it's like here is a movie made in the 80s, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, 1980.
1980.
Right on the dot.
Right on the dot. But it's about even movies from the past. So it's like his nostalgia, probably the director and writer's nostalgia of that era, but seen through the 80s lens. Oh my God, here is another Japanese, only for 500 yen, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
God, they really know how to do it
Isn't
there.
that beautiful?
Wow, you know what? We have also lost like print magazines, kind of. I mean, there are magazines still on shelves, but they are not like they used to be. And I love when I can pick up a vintage magazine.
Yes.
You learn so much. And I tell people, if you want to know something about a piece of media, it's not on the internet always.
Not always.
There's
no.
like 1% of information's on the internet.
Right.
And you open up a magazine and like if you found one about Fade to Black and you read the article, you find out all these things
yeah.
about it. Oh, it's so wonderful.
Yeah, because what's online is just what people have found, right? So
Exactly.
there's still so much that we haven't been been privy to, seen on the internet as like, oh, they forgot to scan it, or they haven't.
And there's also like a tactile quality to it when you actually flip through a magazine and you're
Absolutely.
like looking at the pictures and like this movie looks sexy.
It
to be
is,
honest,
it
is it? It's funny because like from the poster it doesn't look sexy, but then when I'm flipping through this like the Japanese booklet for it,
Yeah.
this is sexy.
Well, Marilyn, you know what? To this day, I think she is absolutely this actress, Linda Carriage, who plays a Marilyn Monroe lookalike in the film. I think to this day she's the best Marilyn lookalike.
No, I actually thought it like was Marilyn.
Yeah.
And I love Marilyn Monroe. I think she's one of
Absolutely.
the best comedians, to be honest.
Yeah, underrated as a comedian.
Yeah.
Completely.
But her comedies are excellent. Wow. That is
Yeah.
so beautiful.
It really is.
Where do you find all of this stuff?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna. My dad has a huge collection. He's a huge movie buff
Oh,
himself.
that's wonderful.
So I've inherited a lot of his collection. As a kid, he met Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and he got them to autograph something for me, like to Grace from Ginger Rogers.
Oh, do you think you got your love of movies from your dad?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Did you guys used to like watch movies together?
Watch
and-
movies together, talk about movies together. My dad's a bit of an idiot savant. Like, you know, he won't remember what he had for breakfast, but then he'll remember, you know, oh, Liz Taylor, 1961, you know, that movie. And I'm just like, Dad, how do you know this off the top of your head?
Wow, that is so special that you and your dad were able to share that.
Oh,
like share
absolutely.
just like your love of movies and. I mean, I have that with my dad. And so I understand it's a really special bond.
It's absolutely so special.
love it. Oh my
His
God.
eyes just light up whenever we talk film.
Does he love 80s too? Or is he like
You know what? He's
like 50s,
Yeah.
40s?
Yeah, he's more 50s, 60s, like what he grew up with.
So he's also nostalgic for what he grew up with.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So even though it's different, it is the same.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, what's the next piece?
All right. Well, I want really.
Oh
quickly
yeah,
wanted
wait a
to
second.
talk
There is a
about-
poster. We
Yes.
actually have a signed Fade to Black poster.
Yes.
Okay, so who is it signed by?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've got a funny story about this. I met Dennis Christopher at Monsterpalooza last year, and he signed my Fade to Black original one sheet. But I was talking to him about how much I loved him also in the movie, the miniseries It.
Isn't the whole point of the miniseries is that they're all comedians, and so they were like typecast in a. This is like Stephen King's.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they were all comedians.
Oh my
And then they
gosh.
were kind of typecast in a horror movie, but then you had all of these like TV comedians in a horror movie, so it was kind of jarring when you saw it because
Saw
you
them.
recognized them
Yeah.
as comedians. But here
comedians.
they are in this really scary movie.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I love the TV adaptation of It
I
so
actually do
much.
too.
Yeah, I actually am going to go out on a limb and say I love it better than the movie.
Yeah.
I still have it recorded on VHS from 1990.
Oh my god, your original recording.
My original recording from TV with the commercials, girl.
That's also something that has been lost with streaming.
Yes.
I know there are ads, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are not commercials.
They're not commercials.
And what people have done like you when they recorded a movie with the commercials is you guys have actually done like an anthropological, archaeological save of all of this media that probably would be lost without it. You know, there are people that actually look for things to splice the commercials.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
Absolutely. So the story is, I was talking to actor Dennis Christopher about his role Eddie Kazbrak in It, and he got confused and he signed my poster, "Thank you for loving Eddie," which is his character in It, and not in the movie Fade to Black.
But he's still thanking you. Thanks for loving Eddie.
Yeah, so, you know, that's kind of a funny story I get to tell, even though
But that's also like a super personal like signature then. Like you know the story, and if it ever was, if that poster somehow was not in your possession, you would know it was yours. You'd be like, it's not some other Grace's.
Absolutely, right. So on my Fade to Black poster, he signed it, "Thank you for loving Eddie," which is, not his character in Fade to Black, but makes for a great story.
I also love, I've seen you get a signature before, and you bring like different colored pens
for
like to like match with the art, because a lot of times people like will just have a black pen or will just have whatever, but on your Fade to Black poster you had him sign like the red pink that matches Fade to Black.
Of course, I want it to look pretty, so so that's my funny story.
And did he sign this also, or who signed this?
Yeah, so he kind of threw this in for me. He was just like, "Oh, Grace, you dropped this picture." I was like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "Yes, you did. Here you go." So
God, I love it when you meet someone and they are so nice and they go the extra mile.
Right.
That is just so nice.
Yeah, he gave me the biggest hug ever, and I told him I loved him, and that was that.
Oh, I love that. I love a happy story.
Yes, absolutely.
What's the next piece?
So the next piece, still within keeping of 80s movies.
Oh,
and
I know what this is.
We talked about this a little bit earlier. So Monster Squad from 1987 is also one of my favorite all-time movies. And I did some zines, not zines.
Yeah.
About the movie.
One day I'll get it right. I don't know what it is. I think I'm like a phonetic reader. I sound out the word. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's not a magazine. I know that. It's a magazine. But when it's just Z-I-N-E, it's a zine.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with me.
I can see that. So, I first saw this movie on VHS. We didn't have cable growing up, so I saw it as a kid in the 80s, and I was so enthralled with this movie. It was just captivating because I was 12 at the time when I saw it on VHS, and that was like my prime ugly duckling phase. We all have that. And
every girl has that at that age. Oh my God, it's so hard. That age is the hard, like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Yes.
15, you're starting to get out of it. But like that 10 through 14, oh my God, I think back to me at that age. And it was hard.
It was freaking hard. So I just immediately felt such a kinship for these like misfit, loser, outcast kids. And I saw them, doing battle and saving the world and like fighting monsters. And I was just like, well, dang it, these kids are going for it. And it kind of just gave me like the gumption to be like, it's okay to be weird. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be a little bit of an outcast. And that feeling has stayed with me all of my life. And growing up, I had a huge crush on Ryan Lambert because
I see. I don't know if this is your quote or someone else's quote,
it was her quote.
It was her quote. Yeah. I was a 6-year-old who thought Ryan Lambert was my boyfriend. Haha, Anissa.
Yes. So essentially, this was my first edition of my zine called I Heart Rudy, and it was originally intended for girls only, to talk about the character of Rudy, played by Ryan Lambert, but it's morphed into just, generally all fans who love the movie, and not just, let's just talk about, with girls who have crushes on Ryan Lambert.
And I just flipped to a random page. Also, I love that this guy's handle is Tom Servo 84 because gosh. I love Tom Servo. He's my favorite in the in Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes,
it's like my favorite character when I used to watch that. Oh my God, the originals. They still do those riff. I don't think they still do them, but they used to do riff tracks live.
Oh my gosh.
Through Fathom events, and you could go to the theater and they would do it.
They would do it, yeah.
I saw Reefer Madness, and then I think also House on a Haunted Hill.
Oh my God.
And I took my parents to go see Reefer Madness when I was like 13. It was crazy.
Oh my God, were they freaked out?
No, I think my mom was laughing her butt off.
That's amazing.
So how did you put this together? Did you just like reach out to other fans? And
Yeah, so this original issue, I think I started in 2015, and it's super just like, I did this on Microsoft Word. It's just like super trashy, this first edition. And then I worked on the newest issue,
this
which
is
you're holding.
hefty.
Yeah, I worked on that during the pandemic.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, Sarah helped me
Wow,
put
like
it
with
together.
the ET on the back. Oh my God, you guys, this is beautiful.
Well, Andre Gower, who is one of the stars of the Monster Squad, he was in the commercial for that ET game.
Oh, this ET Atari game that's on the back of
yes.
the zine.
Right. And Andre, actually, during the pandemic, he gave me a big bucket full of his Monster Squad paraphernalia, his screen-used wardrobe
Oh my
that
God,
he
really?
wore in the film, his Stephen King Rules
Oh yeah,
shirt.
right here in the very front page.
Yes.
And I love how you signed "brought to you by your editor in Creep." Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was his screen-used wardrobe, and I tried really hard. I had to restrain myself to not wear the whole outfit because I thought that'd be disrespectful.
I wish you would have. I wish I had a picture of you, like for scale, like just so you all knew.
Yeah, so I had his wardrobe just sitting around for forever until I could document it for the zine.
Had you ever considered doing this for other pieces of like movies and like other 80s movies, like making zines?
Oh my gosh, absolutely, but it took so much time.
Well, you did a lot of interviewing for this also, it looks like.
I did. And you know what? It's funny because it's like these are guys that I grew up, watching and reading about in teen magazines, and then now it's just like, oh, it's just them. They're my friends now. So.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But like, for example, like stuff like this is my childhood. Just like articles.
Yeah, she's a Tiger Beat.
Articles
God.
in like Teen Beat, Tiger Beat magazine of the Monster Squad.
I love that. God, and the paper in these magazines is just the best.
Yes, absolutely.
Here, this other article that's in here. Oh my God. And the color spread. Like, that. It's funny. I actually saw this recently. Joe Russo, who worked, I guess Mick Garris's podcast is sadly over now. But he was like, we talked about like horror movies and like gateways into horror. Yes. And he was like so shocked that I had never seen Monster Squad. And so I went home that night and I watched it.
That night and you watched it.
And I was like, I gotta watch it.
Okay.
Then. Well, because it's funny when I think about like the seminal, I don't want to say Goonies is a horror movie, but I think of it as like a group of kids doing it's an adventure film.
Yes.
And I love Goonies.
Yes, I love Goonies too.
I'm a Goonies like freak.
Yeah.
like Sloth has shaped me in ways as an adult that I did not understand at all. It is so weird. I'm always like, I love Sloth.
Yeah, like we wanted him as a best friend, right?
We did. We honestly really did.
Yeah.
So I know you have a Monster Squad poster, and I know this has a story because Ciro helped us pull it out.
Yes.
And he started trying to tell us the story, and then Grace was like, "Cut it off! Right. Nope, we gotta tell it." So. What is the story behind this Monster Squad poster?
Okay, well, I've got a framed original one sheet of Monster Squad sitting to my right now, and the provenance of it is very important to me because it came from the Barris Garage, which sadly is no longer around in Burbank. Yeah, so the history has it that Barris was responsible for Dracula's hearse, which you see on the poster. So this poster here, it was like, tackily mounted on like some sort of poster back or cardboard poster back in the garage for God knows how long, decades. And during his big garage sale or estate sale, getting rid of everything, this was sitting there and it was completely ripped up and gross and needing some repair.
Yeah, as Ciro put it, there was an ecosystem living inside of it.
Oh yeah, there was all kinds of like dead critters and it was peeling and really sad, but it's been lovingly restored. You can still see the cracks, on it and rips, but it's part of it. So
and it's the history of it. But it's also crazy to me that things that have such value to us personally could just be discarded by someone else. It's hard. Like I told Ciro and Grace before we recorded that I have an Evil Dead 2 poster hanging in my house. The only movie scarier than Evil Dead is Evil Dead 2. And my dad actually used to hang it above my bed. And so I've since moved it to my living room in my apartment. But My aunt, my mom's sister, I think left my dad's poster out in the rain. And so it's all warped and bubbled and tattered and ripped, and I probably should get it framed, but it's just how it is. And it's like, someone else might say, oh, it's a piece of trash now, like get rid of it. It's like, no, this is my poster. This is like my very special, like I love it so much, I can't help it. I don't want to get rid of it. And I just think of how many like little treasures there are, especially around Los Angeles, that it's just like get forgotten, get discarded, and then all of a sudden it's like, where is that?
Right.
Where did it go?
That's why I love physical media so much, because we're slowly losing it.
Yeah.
You know, everything is online now. And so there's so little.
Look at that cat. There's a cat, you know, Wolfie, my favorite. Hi, Wolfie.
This little blubber butt.
I know. He also loves physical media.
He does.
If we had no physical media, where would the cat sit?
I don't know. Yeah, everything is online now. I mean, there's this crazy 80's ad that I see floating around on Instagram where this guy has like a VCR and a camcorder and a telephone and a calculator and a keyboard. And I'm like, that's all on our phone now.
Yeah, it is all on our phone now, but it's also like, as we were saying earlier, like you think that everything's out there, and it really isn't. And I remember when I was growing up and the internet kind of just like first was blossoming, and we were just kind of first learning computers and stuff. The whole thing was, if it's on the internet, don't believe it. And now it's, if it's not on the internet, it didn't happen. And my parents all the time tell me about stuff that they either witnessed or like they went and did, and like, or events or like music things that they remember. And then you look it up and it's like, oh, that never happened. It's like, but why would I believe the internet over someone's actual personal experience? Who was there and who said, I saw that happen and I remember that happening. So it's important to save these memories and save these things. So what aspect of 80s culture is your favorite?
What aspect of 80s culture is my favorite?
Like, is it the clothes? Is it the media? Is it just all of it?
It's really all of it. I mean, I have such a love for the decade that raised me, is what I say. The clothes, the style, the architecture, the music, the movies, all of it.
So I always wonder, because when I see you, I always think you're so beautiful and you're so put together. And I talked with KJ Ralph Miller a little bit about this, but like personal style, I think is something that someone really cultivates, and you have a really strong sense of personal style.
Oh, well, thank you.
You do. I think you do. And I love hearing this idea of like the 80s raised me, because that kind of lends me to how you cultivated your personal style. But is that how you did it? Is just like, this is what I grew up with? Because you describe yourself in the 80s as like the little goth kid.
Yes.
But you're not goth sitting in front of me. You're not Susie and the Banshees right now.
So thank you for bringing that up. In high school, I was known as the little Asian goth girl, and I just wanted to disappear into black clothing. Black everything. But now I think I've embraced color. I mean, as a kid, I was like, ew, pink, that's girly. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm cooler than that.
Yeah, because we all go through that like 10 to 14 phase where you're just like, I don't want to be like who I am, because you're going through puberty and it's icky and it feels gross, and you just like don't know who you are. And so you kind of rebel against it.
Absolutely.
But you've come out and you have this really strong, I would say girly, like girly 80s, like... I don't know if I would go as far as to say preppy, though. Or do you think that you have like an 80s preppy style?
I don't think so. I think 80s prep has a bad rap. I mean, look at movies like Pretty in Pink, where James Spader, is such a jerk, right?
Yeah.
Ew. But I think, just coming into my own, and I want to embrace color, and I want to be, bolder and not disappear into black.
And how do you find that confidence to be who you are? Because I think a lot of people want to have their personal style or like let themselves shine, but just don't know where to start.
How do I find that confidence? Maybe it's old age.
Oh my God, Grace, don't get started. Don't. Oh my God, I'm apoplectic right now. Old age? Are you kidding?
I think after a certain time, you just don't give a crap anymore.
So you're just like confident in who you are. You're just rocking it.
I guess so. That you hear things like, you should dress your age, or, you should get with 2024. No.
You know what? That's brave. I think more people need to stand up and like wear what they want, be who they are. Yeah. That's the thing. Okay. Now the toughest question I'm going to ask you all day. Who is the biggest 80s heartthrob?
You're going to make me limit it to one?
Oh, yeah. Well, we can
God.
start with one and then we can go to two if you want.
Okay. Well, God, I mean, I had so many crushes as a kid in the 80s. I kissed my Corey Haim poster goodnight every night.
Okay, so maybe Corey Haim. I don't know. So Grace went and grabbed this. Is this Corey?
That is Corey
Okay, wait
Haim
a
on the
second.
cover.
Cuddly Corey centerfold.
Yes.
But then look at there's Johnny.
Yes.
Johnny Depp is here. Oh my
Yes,
God,
they're all
Alyssa
in there.
Milano. Alyssa Milano is in that Blink 182 music video
What?
for Josie, and they filmed it in Westlake Village.
Okay,
I think
I
she's
did not
in
know
it.
that. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh my,
Kiefer.
Oh God, Kiefer's so handsome.
He was so.
How can I limit it to
handsome.
one
How can
heartthrob?
you limit it to
Oh
one?
my God, there he is. Oh my God, I'm having crushes right now. Even
right.
my heart is pitter pattering.
Oh God. So
They're so cute. Is that Will Wheaton? No. I thought that was Will Wheaton at first.
it is Will Wheaton.
I love Will Wheaton.
Look at how cute he is in his double denim
I have
ensemble.
never seen him outside of Star Trek, though, to be honest. So
Really?
it's like, because I love Star Trek.
Not
I'm a
even Stand By Me?
Oh my God, yeah, he's in Stand By Me.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm like such a huge Trekkie that I
Okay.
watch Star Trek like over and over and over. So he's like Wesley Crusher in my heart
Oh.
forever. Oh my God, he was so cute.
He
here.
was adorable. Yeah, I mean, teenage 80s crushes. I mean, New Kids on the Block, Corey Haim, Johnny Depp. I mean, they're all basically.
The list goes
the
on
list
and
goes
on. I mean, I don't blame you. They are so cute there. And there's also like this kind of like roughness to them, but also an innocence.
Yes.
There was an innocence in the 80s that I
There
feel like we've lost a
was.
little bit of.
That we've lost track of.
Oh. We have lost track of it, but not of our time though. So that's all the time that we have for today. But Grace, is there any final thought that you'd like to share with the audience?
Gosh, I think a final thought. I mean, just love what you love. You know, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, you can curse. You're allowed.
Okay, I was just gonna say I still get a lot of shit for liking what I like, and why do you like all that old shit? Why don't you get with modern day? And you know what? Just love what you fucking love. This stuff is just I'm so passionate about it, and I love it all so much, and I hope that shines through, and it's really going to, I don't know, keep you young, your loves and your passions.
Grace, I have to say, I have goosebumps actually right now. I just want to say, I think that even if you get shit right now for it, there is someone in the future that is going to be so grateful that you saved these objects and that you are championing this culture and this history. Because if we forget about it, it's like, I don't know, someone's going to be really, really, really happy that you were confident enough to keep going and not listen to the haters.
Oh my gosh, I
So
really
I have
appreciate
goosebumps
that.
though. I love your confidence and it's
Can I-
inspiring.
Can I add something very,
Yes,
very
of
quickly?
course.
So I wanted to expound upon what you just said about someone in the future might appreciate this. So there are a lot of like Gen X haters out there who like look at people like my friend Violet and other young 80s
Mm-hmm.
lovers out there that are, teenagers and early 20s that obviously weren't around for the 80s, and they share their passion on Instagram, the clothes, the music, obviously the fashion.
They're nostalgic for a time they weren't around for.
Yes.
And that's okay.
That's okay. And a lot of Gen Xers really hate that. And I will be honest, at first, I was a little jarring to see these children, into an era of which is a product of everything that I love. It was jarring at first. But you know what? I thought about it, and I'm just like, what happens when my generation passes away? It's a little morbid. But so is no one allowed to like the 80s after we pass on?
Yeah, it's a good point. Someone has to champion it.
Yes, the 80s
And you
live
have
on
to
forever.
pass on to someone.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Grace, for coming on to the show. If you'd like to keep up with Grace, you can do so on her Instagram at Grace Marion or on her website, gracemarionchan.com. I'm Gala Avery, and this has been The Gala Show. The Gala Show is brought to you by Insertomatic. This episode was executive produced by Roger Avery and produced by Gala Avery. Music composed by Andy Milburn. As always, I'm your host, Gala Avery. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved. Despite me sharing the same last name with this charity, I don't have any affiliation with it, besides the fact that the issue is very near and dear to my heart. Did you know that in the United States, 2.7 million children currently have a parent in prison, and it's estimated that 10 million children have experienced parental incarceration at some point in their lives? I was one of these kids, and as an adult, I am really grateful to be able to give back to Project Avery. Their mission is to build leadership from within by supporting community through programs such as mentoring and outdoor education, and also to remove the stigma surrounding having a parent that's incarcerated. You don't have to feel alone. If you know a kid who could use these resources or would like to donate money or time to the charity, please go to Project Avery, that's AVARY.org, to check out what this amazing charity is all about. Again, that's projectavery.org. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart.